Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday.
Get me Edward G. Robinson on the phone, will you please?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Eddie? This is Mark. Yeah, in person.
And to what am I indebted for the honor of this call, Mr. Hillinger? How are you, sweetheart?
Say, Ed, I caught that new epic of yours last night at a sneak preview.
What, you mean a slight case of murder? Say, tell me, how'd you like it?
Happy, it's a socceroo. As a matter of fact, I am heading my list of best bets with it in next Sunday's column.
Well, that's swell, coming from you, Hillinger. You know, I've been wanting to get into an honest-to-goodness comedy for a heck of a long time. My wife has seen me die in pictures so often, she was beginning to feel like a celluloid widow.
Well, Eddie, I've always wanted to see you play a Damon Runyon story, because Damon paints the big town and the guys and gals of Broadway as they really are. And that's right down your alley.
I had one look at that script, and I offered to do it for nothing. Well, almost nothing.
It's a grand idea for a picture, all right.
It certainly is. Now, here's a public enemy who was forced to retire from the rackets and wants to become a social butterfly. The only difference is, from now on, Remy is legitimate. What's going to happen now? Yeah, how about that? Shut up, will you? I'm going to take care of every one of you guys. You're going to be salesmen. Salesmen? Only there's going to be a little change in our sales methods. Come on, boys. Right in, honey. Into the music room.
Music room? Up to now, this has always been the slot machine room.
Now, look, there'll be lots of people coming up here that are a cinch to take any one of these kids. So I don't want the best. I want the worst.
Well,
Yeah, that's right. Now, give me the ugliest and toughest little gazebo you got. I want to mold them, see? And here, folks, we have Douglas Fairbanks Rosenblum.
you talk like you're announcing a bout.
Hello, Douglas. Hi, Toots. Hey, does the old dame live in the house, too?
Great stuff, isn't it?
They're worth 40 grand, boss. The paper says dead or alive.
Yeah, for 40 grand, you'd ruin my social reputation. Somebody shot them, boss.
Shot?
Yes, sir, right there in that room.
You've got to get him out of here. I can't have people like that around my house. What would the neighbors think? What would Mary's fiancé think if he came in while they were here?
Hey, what would anybody think? I've been trying to be legitimate, and it ain't my racket. I don't know the rules, so I'm going to play my own game. Starting right this minute, I'm going to be illegitimate.
Well, what's he done?
He was mixed up in that truck holdup.
Don't go in there alone and try to arrest my father. You'd better bring your whole state troop with you.
I want a policeman.
Hey there, it's Brian Davis, and for this week's episode, we're going to cover the movie A Slight Case of Murder from 1938. The studio's Warner Brothers release date was February 26, 1938. The running time 85 minutes and was in black and white. Leonard Maltin from his classic movie guide gives it 3.5 out of 4 stars. He writes Edward G. Robinson is in peak comedy form as a gangster who goes straight when prohibition ends. The hilarious play adaptation has beer brewer Robinson going bankrupt and vacationing in a summer house filled with characters and corpses. The story was used again in 1952 for the film Stop You're Killing Me, starring Broderick Crawford and Claire Trevor. Now, I discovered this film after buying Yet again, a Warner Brothers gangster movie box set. I was expecting a typical 1930s style gangster film, especially since the lead actor in the film was Edward G. Robinson. Yeah, see? But much to my surprise and delight, A Slight Case of Murder is a hilarious comedy spoof about gangsters, and quickly became my favorite from that set. Alright, let's get into the making of the film. So as Leonard Maltin mentioned in his quick synopsis, the film is based on a play of the same name, which was written in 1935 by Damon Runyon and Howard Lindsay. Runyon was a famous journalist and short story writer from the early 20th century. Many of his stories were New York City-centric during the Prohibition era, often glamorizing the region and the era. A Slight Case of Murder was Runyon's one and only play that he wrote. The play ran for 69 performances on Broadway. Then the rights of the play were purchased by Warner Brothers for $50,000. That would be the equivalent of $1.1 million today. By this point in his career, Edward G. Robinson was a huge star and best known for his early 1930s gangster roles. He and James Cagney set the blueprint for gangsters on screen during this era, and especially the Warner Brothers brand of harder edge films. Because Robinson was so popular and generated lots of revenue for Warner Brothers, Robinson was given the ability to be more selective with the films he starred in. Most of the actors during the studio era did not have this autonomy to pick and choose roles. If you were under contract to a studio, you had to do the films they selected for you. However, Robinson still belonged to the studio, so while he had some flexibility, he ultimately was still beholden to the studio. So as the 1930s went along, he would be loaned out to different studios to make a variety of films. This sort of led to a resentment for Robinson with Warner Brothers, and how he was typecast as an actor. He would then leave Warner's in 1943. However, prior to his departure, he would continue to have hits with films like Bullets or Ballots, Kid Galahad, which we covered on episode 278, and of course, A Slight Case of Murder. Director Lloyd Bacon would go on to make two other films similar in tone to A Slight Case of Murder. They were Brother Orchid and Larceny Inc., both of which I own. Bacon would make over 100 films in his career, with his most notable being 42nd Street, Footlight Parade, The Oklahoma Kid, and Newt Rockney, All-American, with Ronald Reagan, the actor. Okay, let's get into the film. So it takes place on the eve of when Prohibition was repealed. While many people celebrate, the bootleggers who made quite a living during Prohibition are less than enthused. However, this doesn't include the biggest bootlegger of them all, Remy Marco, played by Edward G. Robinson.
Prohibition passed away at exactly 5:32.5 p.m. New York time when Utah ratified...
Folks, here's the last keg of Prohibition beer in the house. Marco's Ether, and it's on the house. Hooray! Mr. Remy Marco, the king of beer. And he kept us supplied for 4 years. Marco is all right. Hooray!
Yeah, but thank heaven we don't have to drink his beer anymore.
To Remy Marco! To Remy Marco!
Shut up, you lugs. I got something to say. Prohibition is over, sure. What of it? Well, I'll show you what of it. It's the birth of a new day for us. Come here, all of you. I'll show you something. Get over here. Look, get an eyeful of that. I tell you, it's great. A land office business. Everybody's drinking beer. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, but Remy...
Well, they've been drinking my beer for 4 years, ain't they, and liked it.
They had to like it.
Well, they're going to keep on drinking it more than ever now. It's going to be the same beer, the same customers. They're going to be just as thirsty as they ever was. The only difference is, from now on, Marco is legitimate.
What's going to happen?
Shut up. Will you shut up, you lugs. I'm going to take care of every one of you, just like I always did. I got a job for every one of you.
Yeah?
From now on, you're going to be salesmen. Yeah, that's what I said. Salesman. Well, that's what you've been up to now, ain't it? Beer salesman. Well, that's what you're going to keep on being. Only there's going to be a little difference in our sales methods. Come on, boys, take out the artillery.
Oh,
come on, hurry up. Hurry up now, loosen up. That's it. Hey, some of you guys over there, bring up the rest of those persuaders. Come on now, make it snappy. There, that's it. Oh, Lefty, Blackie, I want you to dump this on one of our trucks and cart it down to the East River.
You mean dump it, boss?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we can get a lot of money for this stuff, boss. We can sell it.
Not us. Now, I told you, from now on, we're legitimate. There's going to be a lot of changes around here. In the first place, this ain't no still no more, see? It's a brewery. Yeah, it's a business enterprise operated on a strictly legitimate basis. Get me? Oh, yeah, and I'm going to give this place a lot of class. Now, that reminds me. Mike, I want you to shave every day.
Every day?
Mm-hmm. Lefty,
Huh?
lay off these striped silk shirts.
Oh, boss.
From now on, everybody wears white shirts. Get me? With clean collars.
Listen, boss. Will it help us to sell Marco's beer any better with clean shirts?
Oh, yeah, say, there's another thing. From now on, it ain't Marco's beer no more. Come here, I'll show you something more. Say, you know, Marco ain't been asleep. You know, I'm all ready for this new setup. Come here, get a gander at this. Gold Velvet Brewery. Remy Marco, president. Tomorrow, the warehouse sign comes down, and up goes this one.
That sign? That ain't big enough.
Oh, yeah, dope. Ain't you got no imagination? This is just a miniature model, just to give you an idea. Well, I'm going home.
Here you are, boss.
Nice. Drink Gold Velvet beer. It's the tops.
It's a good thing the boss never drinks beer.
I want everybody to show up bright and early tomorrow morning, ready for business. Now, and Butch, wash your neck. Come on, Mike, and get a manicure. Come on.
Yeah, see, Remy's going legit. Remy then heads home where he chats with his wife, Nora, played by Ruth Donnelly, and she's throwing a party. Nora is worried that by going into a legitimate business that their lifestyle will suffer and they will no longer be able to send their daughter Mary, played by Jane Bryant, to the prestigious school in Paris that she's currently attending. But Remy doesn't have a worry in the world. He's convinced that his new beer company will be a success. However, Remy quickly finds out that once he no longer has a monopoly and there's plenty of competition with great tasting beer and not the awful swill he served during Prohibition, the prospects of having a legit brewery is no longer a possibility for him. After 4 years, Remy blows through his savings and is close to being broke. They need to cut expenses, then they decide to bring Mary home from school. What Remy doesn't realize is that the actual brewery, the name and the slogan of the beer is top-notch. The only problem is the beer is awful tasting, and his gang is too afraid to tell them. So some outside investors are looking to take over the operations and simply change the beer itself and rake in the profits. The bank tells Remy that they're going to take over the brewery unless he pays the outstanding debt of close to $500,000. He has 1 day to get the cash or the bank takes over the brewery. Remy is still not worried about losing the brewery, so he decides to go up to his summer home in the country with his family and the gang. But before he goes up to the country, he pays a visit to the orphanage he grew up in and gives a talk to the kids. And then he picks one lucky kid to spend the summer with his family for the duration. The orphanage is run by Mrs. Cagle, who is played by the great Margaret Hamilton. Of course, she played the famous Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz a year later.
Before selecting this very fortunate student, I know we will appreciate a few words from Mr. Marco on the subject of success. Mr. Marco.
Well, now look here, you mugs. I mean, you guys. I get a little nervous, you know. I'm your pal, see? I'm for you, 100%, understand? Now, look, does that make any difference to me? I got lots of it, see? But does it make any difference with me? Not on your tin tie. Success didn't turn my hair. And that's the way I want it should be with you. Never treat a sucker like so much dirt when he's down. Play ball with him and you'll find you'll always get a little better edge in the end. And I'm telling you guys, when you leave this joint, keep your chin up. Of course, it's a smart thing to keep your left shoulder up along with it, too. But whatever you do, don't go in for nothing shady. Don't be a chiseler, a gyp, or a gumshoe. Now, stay kosher. Keep your nose clean. And remember, you'll always come out on top with honesty, industry, and the good hard right of the button.
Will the following students kindly step forward? Pierre O'Ratigan. Boyce Fitch Ginsburg. Payson Piedmont Camel. Luther Percy. These are the honor students for the year, Mr. Marco. They had the highest records in deportment, studies, and personal hygiene, and are all eligible to accept your lovely invitation to spend a month in the beautiful environment of your charming home. All perfect little gentlemen.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Now, look, there'll be lots of people coming up here. They're a cinch to take any one of these kids. Now, I don't want the best. I want the worst. You know, some little mug that nobody else wants. I want to give him a chance, see? Wow. That's right. Now, give me the ugliest and toughest little gazebo you got. I want to mold him, see?
Well, surely, Mr. Marco, you don't really want the worst.
Yeah, that's right. I want the worst. Now, trot him out here and let me give him a gander.
Very well. Pedro, you take 3 of the other older boys, go down to the cellar, unlock Douglas, and bring him to my office.
Come on, gang.
Thank you very much.
Hey, take it easy, will you? This, Mr. Marco, is Douglas Fairbanks Rosenbloom.
Well, how are you, old-timer? How'd you like to come up to my joint in Saratoga, huh?
Can I smoke?
Oh, I'm sure, Douglas, Mr. Marco doesn't approve of little boys smoking.
Oh, an old-fashioned sucker, huh?
You'll like it up there. How's about it, kid, huh?
I ain't so sure about that. But anyway, I'll go up and give you a joint to once over.
Oh, that's fine. I think we better start shoving off. It's getting kind of late. That's funny, my watch.
Douglas, hold out your hands. Open them.
Oh, Douglas, you hadn't ought to do that. That's liable to hurt people's feelings.
It's going to mean everything to a boy like Douglas to spend a month in the atmosphere of your lovely home. Goodbye, Douglas. Be a good boy for kind Mr. and Mrs. Marco.
Tell the old lady to change a needle, will you?
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Cagle. Keep up the good work. Come on, Douglas.
Hey, got a match?
What? You hadn't ought to do that, Douglas. That's bad for the wind.
I take notice it ain't hurt yours none.
Well, I wouldn't do it just the same. Come on, Douglas. Douglas, this is Mrs. Marco and my daughter Mary. And here, folks, we have Douglas Fairbanks Rosenbloom.
You talk like you're announcing a bout.
Hello, Douglas.
Hi, Toots. Hey, does the old dame live in the house, too?
Certainly, why?
Call some of the older boys and tell them to put me back in the cellar.
Here, now, wait a minute. Oh, boy, you certainly got a great sense of humor. You know, that's what I like in a kid. Great stuff, isn't he, huh? Hey, Mike. Mike, take Douglas in the front seat with you.
I can let down the trunk rack just as easy.
Oh, he's a great kid. You'll enjoy him. All right, Mike, let's go.
The worst kid of the bunch, of course, is Douglas, played by Bobby Jordan. He was part of the Dead End Kids and the Bowery Boys films. So it's off to the country. Unfortunately, when they arrive at their country house, Remy finds that the house has 4 dead men in it. They were a rival gang from the old days looking to take out Remy when he least expected it. However, they were taken out by another mobster with no ties to Remy. Those guys had stolen a lot of cash from a bookie and then stashed the cash in the house. But Remy has no idea about the cash angle. All right, there's a little less than a half an hour left and plenty of hilarity and hijinks to come as the gang tries to figure out what to do with the stiffs. This also includes a crazy party, which is truly a delight to watch. And if you don't want to wait to watch the film, you can check out a fun radio adaptation of the film at the end of this episode. But really, this is a super fun film that is a terrific satire of the early gangster films that Robinson was best known for. So definitely check out A Slight Case of Murder if you're a fan of those early gangster films or screwball comedies. All right, a couple of fun facts. Ronald Reagan tested for the role of Dick. This was the character which was the fiancé of Robinson's daughter, played by Jane Bryant. But that role, of course, went to Willard Parker instead. As I mentioned, Jane Bryant plays Edward G. Robinson's daughter in the film. A year earlier, she played his kid sister in Kid Galahad, which, again, we covered in episode 278. All right, as promised, I said there was an old-time radio adaptation of this. It came out on April 8th, 1945, by the Old Gold Comedy Theater. So let's play that now, and then I'll be back next week to talk about yet another random movie from my DVD collection.
From Hollywood, California, the makers of Old Gold cigarettes present the Comedy Theater. The only radio program that brings you every week the greatest stars and the greatest comedies. Tonight's play, the radio version of the Warner Brothers production, A Slight Case of Murder, starring Edward G. Robinson with Alan Jenkins. And here is the director of the Old Gold Comedy Theater, Mr. Harold Lloyd.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For tonight's play, we have selected a nice, cheery little item entitled A Slight Case of Murder. It's a story that deals with a benevolent gentleman, a former bootlegger of some importance, whose tenderness of heart is equaled only by his firmness of mind. For such a role, whom could we have chosen but...
Me?
But Edward G. Robinson.
I checked my guns at the door, Harold.
Good. Although we all know that in real life, you're hardly the kind of a person you've portrayed so often on the screen.
Well, which is rather a fortunate thing. Otherwise, think of what might have happened to the population of this country.
Yes. It's a relief to know that you prefer collecting musical albums rather than machine guns. However, in the play, you're Remy Marco, a man whose beer kept a lot of people from being thirsty during Prohibition. But when Prohibition was repealed...
I decided to go legitimate. I called the boys in and I said to them, "Boys, from now on we're going to be legit. From now on this ain't no still, it's a brewery, see? It's going to have real class, just like any business enterprise. So dump the artillery."
And did they?
Well, there was a little grumbling. The boys felt kind of naked without their persuaders, but they dumped the stuff. They dumped it, and we went into business making real beer.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing was I wasn't accustomed to doing things legitimate. Also, my beer wasn't so good, so after a while, I found myself in a kind of a hole. I owed the bank $40,000, and I didn't have it. You see, I'd send my daughter Mary to Europe to get a fancy education, and that cost dough. So when the bank threatened to foreclose on the brewery, I didn't have it.
What did you do?
Well, I got my wife and my daughter and the boys together, and we all drove up to a house I used to rent in Saratoga for the racing season. Mary had gone to her room, and I was talking to my wife, Nora, in the library.
Oh, it's swell being back here.
Yeah, it is a nice dump, isn't it?
For example, Remy, observe the architecture.
The what?
The way the joint is laid out.
Oh.
Hey, boss.
Yeah?
Mike, since you've been a servant, you ain't learned nothing. You call Remy sir, I'll bat your ears off.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Hey, sir.
Oh, what's the matter, Mike?
Well, I went into your bedroom to open up a couple of the windows.
Well, that was very thoughtful of you, Mike.
Yeah, only I don't think you can use that room.
Why not?
There seems to be some people in it.
People? What people? How many people?
Well, there's 4 fellas sitting around in chairs.
Did you tell them to get out?
Well, I'll tell you, I thought I'd speak to them about it, but them people are in no position to listen to much. They don't seem to be alive.
What, you mean they're dead?
Well, that's about what it comes to, boss.
I never heard of such gall in my life. What does the landlady mean by going away and leaving 4 dead people in the house? It ain't sanitary.
Now, wait a minute, Nora. Mike, what was wrong with those fellas?
Well, boss, somebody shot them.
Shot them?
Uh-huh. Right in that room. Interrupted their card game, too. One fella had a full house. They're sitting there just as natural as anything.
Well, you gotta get them out of there. I can't have people like that around the house. What did the neighbors think? What did Mary's fiancé, that Whitewood fella, what did he think if he come in while they were there?
What would anybody think? We better call up the Board of Health and tell them we want to use that room.
Boss, I don't think you'd better do that. I don't think we want any outsiders in on this. You know who those fellas are?
Who?
One of them is Little Dutch.
Little Dutch?
Then there's Black Cat Gallagher, No-Nose Cohen. And the other's a feller I don't know. He must be a total stranger.
What difference does it make who they are?
Now, wait a minute. No, say, those are the fellas I had a lot of trouble with in the old days. They tried to see me a couple of times before. Carrying guns, too.
Were they mad at you?
Well, they used to own the brewery before I owned it. They claimed I never paid them for it.
Did you?
No. Well, that was before I was legitimate.
Oh.
Yeah, and the trouble with those guys was they could never get over the feeling they had some right to that brewery because they started it.
Well, they must have had a argument upstairs and shut it out. Yeah, now the worst of it is some people might get the wrong idea about them being found in my house like this. Oh, why can't people let bygones be by... Mike, get Lefty and Joe here. I think they would be interested.
Sure.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah?
Which one had that full house?
Little Dutch.
I thought so. Lucky Fink, that little Dutch. The boys nearly got the car loaded, Mike?
Yeah, one more stiff to go. Them bums. That's just the kind of a dirty trick those fellas would pull. Leaving themselves in that kind of shape around your house.
Yeah, that little Dutch never had no consideration for other people's feelings. Say, are you sure you boys didn't have a hand in knocking them off?
No such luck.
Hey, boss.
Got them all in the car, Joe?
Yeah, look, I got it all figured out. These must be the fellas who was knocked off. They knocked off that bookie's truck at the racetrack yesterday. Remember it was in the papers?
Yeah, maybe you got something there.
They knocked off the guy driving the truck, didn't they?
Yeah, and they didn't get no dough. Oh, boy, the joke was sure on them.
Then after they pull that job, they come straight here to take up that old matter at the Bureau with the boss.
Yeah, some nerve. Reopening old wounds, and me legitimate for years.
They're all aboard, boss. The car's ready to go.
Well, thanks, Lefty. Now, let's take those people and throw them away somewheres.
Where?
Say, boss, you know that gentleman jockey, Mr. Brent?
Yeah?
I bet on a horse of his out at Belmont one day, and I think he pulled the goat.
I know he pulled that goat. Though I hate to say anything against a gentleman jockey.
Say, boss, how would it be like to leave one of these stiffs on his doorstep?
Well, that's fine. I don't care much for gentleman jockeys myself.
How about Little Dutch for Mr. Brent?
Oh, why not? We'll leave Black Hat Gallagher at Briggs' cottage around the corner. Joe Brigg welched on me when he was making book at Jamaica.
Hey, boss, there's a fella I don't like. He runs a restaurant downtown.
We can't take any downtown. We'll leave one on Colonel Jake Schultz's lawn.
Yeah, the Schultz Bureau guy.
Yeah, once he told it around, I was making chemical beer. Well, we'll give him no-nose Cohen. He's the ugliest.
How about picking a spot for that stranger? He ain't no Rose.
Hey, boss, can't I keep just one of them in the kitchen till late? I'll take them downtown myself. It'll be no bother for you.
Yeah, no, we gotta get him out right away. Nora's getting sore.
How about giving the little stranger to Marshal Preston, that blue nose, who's always wanting to make horse racing illegal?
Yeah. Well, come on, let's get started. Oh, so he wants to close down the tracks, huh? Well, okay, he gets the stranger. Mike, you're staying with the missus. Me and the other boys will make the deliveries.
Oh, boss, Lefty went last time. I never have no fun.
You heard me. Stick here. You're getting spoiled, always thinking of your own pleasure. Get going, Joe.
Okay. Hey, this is sure some swell driveway in front of the house. Hey, boss.
Yeah?
It's a state trooper turning in. He's heading toward us.
Well, you know what to do. Step on it. You missed him. What's the matter with you lately, Joe?
I don't know. It's a life I'm leading, boss. I was much better when I was illegitimate.
Now here's Bob Williams with an important announcement of special interest to all smokers.
As we've done before, due to wartime restriction, the cellophane wrapper on Old Gold packages will be removed for the warm months ahead. Cellophane is most effective during the winter months when artificial indoor heat tends to dry out tobacco. But during this summer, and for the first time since the beginning of the war, Old Golds will again have the special protection of aluminum foil, which was released in limited quantity for packaging. So, Old Gold's unique blend of many tobaccos, including its touch of rare imported Latakia tobacco, will still be doubly protected. Protected by aluminum foil and protected by apple honey, which helps guard Old Gold's against cigarette dryness. Yes, the grand, fragrant aroma and swell taste of Old Gold will still be well protected to give you your full quota of smoking enjoyment. Now, if you're not already getting Old Golds wrapped in aluminum foil, they'll be coming to you in their new dress real soon. Distribution is just about complete. So keep asking for Old Gold and enjoy a finer tasting cigarette. And now back to Harold Lloyd and the second act of tonight's Old Gold Comedy Theater presentation, A Slight Case of Murder, starring Edward G. Robinson with Alan Jenkins. All right, Mr. Lloyd.
Well, while Marco and the boys were out making their little deliveries, the state trooper they missed drove up to the front door of the Marco home, rang the doorbell, and when Mary answered it, he promptly kissed her, which, considering Mary, was the only intelligent thing to do.
Mary, darling.
Oh, Dick.
Hey, let's not talk.
Let's not. Mother is here now. Dick, what on earth are you doing in that uniform?
Well, remember you told me back in Paris that you wouldn't marry me unless I stopped living on my father's money and got myself a job.
Yeah?
Well, I got a job as a state trooper.
Oh, well, I'm not sure.
Mike told me there was a copper in here.
Oh, you're Mrs. Marco, aren't you?
What of it?
Oh, Mother, this is Dick.
Oh, forgive me for my hearthstone, Mr. Whitewood. But you must remember my shock, thinking it was the law. It was only you. How did you ever happen to take up trooping?
Well, I was stopped for speeding in Westchester one day, and
Did you beat the rap?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, where is Dad, Mother?
Oh, he should be back at any moment now. He went out. It'll be very interesting having a policeman in the family, I hope.
Oh, Mama, Oh, copper. Are you in this house on any business?
Well, no, sir.
Well, then get out of here. Get out! We got plenty of gall walking into an honest man's house. I don't have to stand for any coppers around me now.
Oh, but Father... Remy, he's...
I don't care who he is. I don't want no cops prowling my joint.
Remy, he's Mary's intended. He's going to marry her.
What?
This is Dick Whitewood, Father.
But you never told me your boyfriend was a cop.
He just became one, Father.
Well, he should have resisted that temptation. Coming around dressed up like that, scaring people.
Why don't you two run out and have your dinner with Dick's father? I'll square the beef here.
Oh, come on, Dick. We'll give Remy time to get used to the idea.
All right, but we'll be seeing you later. I'll bring my own dad over.
Say, Mary doesn't think for 1 minute I'm going to let her marry a copper. Why, we'd never be able to hold up our heads again.
Why, Remy, ain't you forgetting that we're on the side of law and order ourselves
Well,
now?
sure, but we don't have to have it right in the house.
Remy. Oh, Remy, he loves Mary, and Mary loves him, just like you and I used to be.
Yeah, but I was never no copper.
Well, don't hold no man's job against him, Remy. If he's so stupid he can't get no other work, let him be a copper. Come on, have your dinner, and you'll feel better.
All right, all right. Say, you don't suppose he gets a pleasure out of arresting people? You know there are coppers in this world like that.
How's the cooking, Joe?
Oh, all right. Only it's kind of dull.
If this legit stuff keeps up much longer, I'm going to kiss you guys goodbye and spend the rest of my days in an old lady's home.
Oh, cheer up, will you, Mike? I hit the boss up for something on our back wages, and he give us $50 on account.
Gee, I didn't think he was that low.
Even lower. Unless he digs up 40 grand by tomorrow, that guy post from the bank is going to foreclose on a Bury. Then we're out of everything. Marcus should have never gone legit.
Well, he couldn't have kept prohibition from being repealed all by himself, could he?
Hey, I've been looking at this paper here. There's an offer of $10,000 reward for each of those guys who held up the bookie's truck, dead or alive.
You mean those guys that we found
and delivered
are worth 10 grand apiece?
Yeah.
So what are we waiting for? Leave us go and recollect them. Gentlemen, leave us go to work.
Well, that soup's a long time coming up.
Lefty must be trying out a new recipe or something. Remy, I wish you wouldn't take this thing about the boys being a cop so serious. You like him when you get used to him.
Oh, I ain't got nothing against the kid. It's just that I don't like his advocation. Lefty. Lefty!
Oh, we better go see what's holding him up. Oh, there's nobody in the kitchen.
You're kidding. Oh, yeah, there's a note on the kitchen table. Let's see what it says. Dear boss, we have taken a half hour off. Signed, Mike. You know, I'm getting a little discouraged with Mike, Nora.
Well, you ought to be, after all you done for him and give
No,
him.
it ain't that. It's just that I can't teach him to spell. Look at the way he spells tooken with 2 O's.
Some people just ain't got it in them to learn real grammar. Now, you and me, Remy. On the phone.
Now, I'll take it, Nora. Hello?
Marco, this is Post.
Who is it, Remy?
Post, the guy from the bank I owe that dough to. How are you, Post?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm stopping at the Shoreford Hotel.
Oh.
Marco, the board of directors decided to call your note in.
Decided? What, you came all the way up here to tell me that?
I have all the papers with me. Unless your note's paid by 12 o'clock noon tomorrow, we have orders to proceed with the foreclosure on the brewery.
Yeah, but you can't do that, Post. Look, that brewery's the only thing I got. Look, now, wait, it would be different if I didn't have the dough. I got it, but I need it for advertising, you know, radio. Hello? Hello? He hung up.
Remy, does that mean...
Yeah. We're broke, Mama. The brewery, the townhouse, everything. Oh, I've been a sucker, a set-off for a bunch of tin-horn moneylenders. It was only too quick to dish it out when I was making dough, but pull back their ears now when I need it. They're holding a note for a lousy $40,000, and if it ain't paid by tomorrow, everything goes.
Well, Remy, we've been broke before. You've been in tough spots you always got out of. You'll get out of this one.
You bet I will. Trouble with me has been I've been playing the other guy's game. I've been trying to be legitimate, and it ain't my racket. I don't know the rules, so I've been behind the 8 ball. But beginning right now, I'm going to be illegitimate.
Oh, that's the doorbell. It must be Dick's own man.
Oh, Whitewood, huh? Okay, let me see. Now, here's where Marco goes to work. You know what I'm going to do, Nora? I'm going to ride outside there and sell that guy a half interest in the brewery.
Well, we got them all back to the house.
Yeah, lucky, too. I thought for a minute we was going to lose No-Nose Cohen when Colonel Schultz came along just then.
Yeah, that was a swell idea. Mike telling him No-Nose is a friend of ours who got lost on the jag and was just leaning up against his door, resting.
Yeah. Well, look, we can't keep those stiffs in here, in the car. Somebody's liable to come nosing around here.
Well, where will we put the stiffs, Mike?
Well, we found them first, I guess. Up in the boss's bedroom. They'll be more private there.
Well, so you're Dick's old man, Mr. Whitewood. I guess that's why you look like him, huh? Have a glass of beer.
I never drink, sir.
Oh, that's too bad. Like my library? Had some books put in.
Isn't that customary?
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course.
Mr. Marco, after meeting you and your wife, I'm deeply concerned, sir. I'm afraid
Oh, you mean about them getting married? That's all right. You can stop worrying.
Oh, really? But, Mr. Marco, perhaps I should explain that we Whitewoods came over on the Mayflower...
Now, don't apologize, Mr. Whitewood.
Apologize, sir.
I don't hold a man's past against him. Now, look, Mr. Whitewood, to prove it I like you, I'm going to let you become a partner in my brewery.
You are?
Yeah, for a lousy $40,000.
But I don't...
Furthermore, I'll tell you what I'll do. I got my picture on the bottles. When you're my partner, I'll put your picture on the cans.
Mr. Marco, this is ridiculous, sir. I have no intention of investing in any brewery and...
What? What's the matter?
My heart. I get these attacks. I must lie down.
Well, say, that's too... your heart. Well, I know. You go right on up to my bedroom and lay down there. First door to your left at the head of the landing. Now, you go on. I'll explain to the folks, and while you're up there, you think over my proposition. Go on now.
Thank you.
It ought to be nice and peaceful up there. Absolutely nothing to disturb you. Well, he didn't sound so enthusiastic. Maybe he...
Boss.
Go away, Mike, will you? I'm thinking.
But I got something to tell you.
It ain't important. Nothing is important except raising $40,000 for that foreclosure.
That's what I want to tell you about. You remember those 4 fellas we found up in your bedroom?
Well, sure.
Well, there was a $10,000 reward out for them. $10,000 for each of them, dead or alive. Dead or alive. 10 times 4?
Makes 40 grand. Yeah, but we give them away.
No, boss. Me and the boys brought them back.
Mike, you're a good boy. Well, then all we got to do is turn them over. No, we can't do that on account of the cops might be suspicious of us. Where'd you park the stiffs?
Right in the same room where we found them, in the closet.
And you mean up in my bedroom?
Yeah. We figured they was accustomed to that room.
But Whitewood just went up there. He ain't well. Suppose he was accidentally to open that closet.
Nothing like that ain't liable to happen. Boss, don't look now. But is that Whitewood at the head of the stairs?
Help! Murder! Police!
That is Whitewood.
Oh, well, there are always two ways to look at a thing. Isn't that right, Bob Williams?
Oh, I think so, Harold. Now, you take the fellow who's planted his first victory garden. He set out rows of tomatoes and cool, crisp lettuce to go up with them. But instead of lettuce, up comes spinach. Well, either that fella can swear off gardening altogether, or he can just relax and say to himself,
"Why be irritated? Light an Old Gold."
Yes, sirree, smokers. An Old Gold sure brings you a harvest of real pleasure, grand extra flavor, plus special protection against cigarette dryness. You see,
Old Gold's blend of great tobaccos, including a touch of tasty Latakia tobacco, is conditioned with the special moisture-protecting agent we call apple honey. Made from the juice of fresh apples, it actually helps prevent cigarette dryness. So, for a better, keener, tastier smoke, light an Old Gold.
And remember, while we're producing all the cigarettes possible without sacrificing Old Gold quality, our armed forces get first consideration. At the same time, we're doing our utmost to assure fair distribution of remaining Old Golds. So if you must be content with substitute brands today, be content to know that tomorrow, if you ask, your dealer may have Old Gold. And now back to Harold Lloyd and the third act of tonight's Old Gold Comedy Theater presentation, A Slight Case of Murder, starring Edward G. Robinson with Alan Jenkins. All right, Mr. Lloyd.
Well, if you're going to have corpses around the house, it's nicer to have them worth $10,000 apiece, which is what the corpses Remy Marco had were worth. Unfortunately, he couldn't afford to have them found dead. People might think things, which makes it a ticklish proposition when Mr. Whitewood, who didn't care for Remy anyway, apparently found them in Remy's bedroom closet and came staggering out, screaming,
"Help! Police! Murder!"
What on earth is wrong? Oh, my goodness.
What's wrong?
Father, what happened?
Remy, what's the old gent yelling about?
Mr. Marco.
Yes?
I went to the closet to hang up my coat. And, Mr. Marco,
Yes?
there are 4 of your friends in that closet with guns.
Well, can you imagine that? Well, can it be that somebody's intruding on Marco?
One of them attacked me, and the others in the closet shook their fists and waved their guns.
Boss, he thinks they're alive.
I know, I got an idea. Say, I just thought those people up there must be the ones who held up that truck.
Yeah, that's it, boss. Them there parties are the bandits.
But, Dick, bandits, do something right away.
Huh? All right. Where's the phone?
Over there, Dick. Well, what are you going to do with the phone?
Why, well, just this. Hello. Operator, this is the Marco place. What do I want? I want a policeman.
But, Dick, you're a policeman.
Huh? Oh, I got.
Well, that gives me an idea. Young fellow, here's your big chance.
Big chance for what?
To become a hero.
Oh, right.
Boss, what did you think he's doing? Taking out his gun and standing at the foot of the stairs.
Hey, what do you think you're doing, Dick?
I'm guarding the stairway.
Get a load of that, boss. He thinks they'll all leave by the front door.
That's no good. When the other cops come, they'll find the stiffs upstairs already dead. I got it. Look, Dick, do you want to make a big shot out of yourself?
How?
Well, you go up to that room and order them to come out of that closet with their hands up.
But suppose they don't.
I lay 500 to 1 they don't.
Well, if they don't, or even if they hesitate, Dick, you start popping. Don't try to open the door, or they'll shoot your ears off.
Yeah, they're dead. Shot.
Don't you think it'd be wiser to wait for reinforcements?
Young man, you're wearing the uniform of your country. Anyways, your state. Do you want people to say you disgraced it?
He's right, my son. You're a Whitewood.
Well, come on. Come on, me and Mike will go with you. Mike, take his other arm, and we'll help him upstairs.
Okay, boss.
That's my son.
Don't apologize, Pop. You can't help it. Hey, Dick. Walk a little bit.
Well,
Me and Rummy can't carry you all the way.
Well, here we are, in the bedroom. Closet door's locked. Mike, let go of him. Dick.
Huh?
Order them to come out.
Oh. Come out with your hands up or I'll shoot.
Well, they don't seem to be coming out.
Surprise.
What I better do?
Well, seeing it's a rented house, I kind of hate to do it, but you better shoot.
All right.
You hit the chandelier. You better try keeping your eyes open, Dick, and aiming a bit lower, say 7 or 8 feet.
Oh, no, okay, I'll try.
Attaboy. Maybe the closet door ain't quite as big as the side of a barn, but you can't miss. Go on, let it go.
Oh, what on earth happened? What happened? Dick, are you all right?
Son!
Well, nice work, Dick. You know, something tells me you got him. Mike? Open the closet door.
Okay, boss. I think he got him, too.
Oh!
There goes one falling down.
Stiff number 2.
Number 3.
And number 4. Dick, you got them all.
Hey, boss. The kid fell down, too.
Just fainted. After all, facing a closet full of bandits is a strain. Mary, I give my consent to you marrying him. That boy ain't afraid of nothing. Much.
Oh, Dick, darling.
Mr. Whitewood, I will reconsider my offer to let you become my partner for $40,000. Mike, you sure we get 10 grand apiece for the stiffs?
Sure.
Mr. Whitewood, it will now cost you 100 grand to get your picture on the cans. Nora.
Yes, Remy?
After the cops cart the stiffs away, have the boys clean up the room. Oh, and Mike.
Yeah, boss?
Bring me a bottle of beer.
Your beer?
My beer. What do you want? What do you want to do? Kill me?
Well, so closes A Slight Case of Murder. Right now, Edward G. Robinson and Alan Jenkins, our thanks to you for a most enjoyable half hour.
Well, it's been a lot of fun doing it again, Harold.
It was a pleasure.
Who's on the Old Gold roster next Sunday, Harold?
We're very happy to welcome next week Jack Haley and Martha O'Driscoll in The Nervous Wreck.
Well, I'll be listening.
And so will I.
Good night, folks. Until next Sunday. See you then.
A Slight Case of Murder was presented through the courtesy of Warner Brothers, producers of the mirth-provoking picture Roughly Speaking. The screenplay was written by Earl Baldwin and Joseph Schrank from the original story by Damon Runyon and Howard Lindsay. Edward G. Robinson can currently be seen in international pictures Woman in the Window. Alan Jenkins will soon be seen in Universal's Lady on a Train. And now until next Sunday evening, don't let little annoyances get you down. Why be irritated? Light an Old Gold. Its tobaccos are conditioned with apple honey to help guard against cigarette dryness and to give you more smoking pleasure. This is Bob Williams saying good night for Old Gold.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
If you enjoy this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.